So there's a couple of special cases that we want to talk about when we're factoring. So we can still use the same process for these, but you might notice some um, patterns to it. So when you have r squared minus 9, you might think, well, there's no b value. And that's right, there isn't a b value. So thinking about what would make b go away, so the b is what is on the x, that would mean, or so what would make the x go away, that would make b 0. So we're going to have a c of negative 9 and a b of 0. So we want to think to ourselves, well, what will multiply to be negative 9 and add to be 0? And that would be negative 3 and positive 3. These are an opposite pair. So when you plug it in, you're going to get r minus 3 and r plus 3. If we jump over to number 3, it has the same thing. We don't have a b value. So our c is negative 16 and our b is 0. So if you think to yourself, what multiplies to be 16 and adds to be 0? That's negative 4 and positive 4. Do you see the pattern? The x minus 4 and x plus 4. This is what we call the difference of squares. And what that really is just talking about is when you have two numbers that are subtracted and both of them are perfect squares, then they are what we call the difference of squares. And they will always work out to b. So if it's a squared minus b squared, it will always factor to a minus b times a plus b. And of course, the order doesn't matter, so it could be a plus b times a minus b, but it will always be the same. And it's just the square root of the first one and the square root of the second one, and then you interchange them. So you can choose to remember this pattern and this rule, or you can just factor it the way that I factored it, and it'll always work out. Now looking at number 2, we see we have 3 terms. So we have 16 and we have negative 8. So we actually would find that negative 4 and negative 4 make negative 8, and negative 4 and negative 4 multiply to be positive 16. So we get g minus 4 times g minus 4. And this is one that you've actually seen and done before, and it's not special except that it's g minus 4 squared. So if you notice that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, so the first and last terms are both perfect squares, then the middle terms in the middle term here is the double of the square root of the third term, then you can go ahead and jump to this. It's not necessary. Some of you will pick up that pattern. And I just wanted to talk about it and bring it to light. So if the square root of c times 2 gives you b, then it will always factor to be the x or whatever plus or minus the square root of c, and that plus or minus would be based off of b. So that's, if you notice that, go at it. If not, just make your x puzzle and it'll work out. So go ahead and try and do 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll check back. All right, so going ahead and checking your work here to make sure that you've got all of them correct. Number 4, you could have just seen that 4, the square root of 4 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4 to get you that h plus 2 squared. Or you could have just gone the old-fashioned long route. Same thing with 5 and 6, really just a little extra practice. They just look a little different. The hardest ones are these binomials because we have to remember that b is 0. A lot of times we try and make that c be the b value, but it can't be. Additionally, it won't work if it's adding. And that's because, and I'll come over here and kind of do a little, we have x, let me turn to a marker, x squared plus 16. Then when we put our x puzzle, we'd have positive 16 on top and 0 on bottom. But because it's positive, we would have to have the same signs. And there's no way to make 0 with the same sign. So if you look down your list of factors of 16, none of those will give you 0 except 4 and 4, and you'd have to have different signs to get the 0, and the different signs would multiply to give you a negative 16 instead of the positive 16. So that's why if it looks like this, it's actually not factorable, which we would call prime. So prime numbers are numbers that only have one in itself as a factor. Prime trinomials are those that can't be factored. All right, so now you have a little bit of mixed practice here. So in this whole little section, all of these problems are just everything we've done so far. So go ahead, this will probably take you, depending on how good at factoring you are, a little bit of time. So go ahead and get that done, and then go on Canvas and look for the factoring trinomials part 2 notes key to check and make sure that you've done them correctly. I'm not going to add those to our list or to this video, but just make sure you're paying attention. Is C positive or negative? And then go from there. Remember, if C is positive, you want to add to get B. If C is negative, you're still adding, but it's technically going to subtract. So positive C, same signs, negative C, different signs, and you will be fine. Catch me back later when we start solving equations.